Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the no. Here comes the oh. Here comes the.
Hey, and welcome to Sooner Sound Waves, episode 11. I'm Iceberg. Alongside me is the Goodfella and St. Pablo. That was a good one, in case you didn't hear it. There we go. Coming off a very disappointing loss against the Ole Miss Rebels. Guys, what are your thoughts?
So I didn't get to watch the first half of the game. I was actually unavailable the first half, but I was able to catch the second half of the game. So I don't know. I kind of went back and I was able to watch, what took place first half, but didn't get to see it live. I think it starts back to what I said last week in regards to just Mateer and like his confidence level. It's not like he's not the same person right now, and I get it. Coming back from an injury. In some cases, could be season-ending injury. He came back pretty quickly in terms of the recovery. Now, I think what bothers me the most right now is that mentally he is still making some decisions that are delayed. I think he showed some glimpses of where he can be an effective quarterback. I think he had one scramble where he went for 20 yards, which was a confidence run. Outside of that, when he was running the ball, I felt like he was still kind of timid and not really running as the Mateer of week 1, week 2, week 3, the same caliber, just a different character. I will say this. This gets me to thinking about, as we move forward. I don't want to go too far in this conversation, but this does look to see that he may be returning next year. I don't think right now he is ready for the NFL. So in terms of what it looks like for us as we move forward in next year, I'm banking on him just growing this year and just getting more developed in the offense and planning for next year. I don't know what happened with Michael Hawkins, but if Mateer continues to play the way he's playing, he's not ready to be drafted for the NFL. But to go back, I think there was some positive production. I think Xavier played hard. I think Blaylock had a few good touches, not enough good looks. I think he did get the ball, 10 or 12 times. They did a switch in terms of who took the workload. Based off last game, it was surprising to see Xavier get the bulk of the carries, but he did make a really good run. I think like 65 yards off some amazing blocks that our lineman set up. Good read, and he was able to kind of spring. Receiving wise, Centennial, I think he's still a dominant force on the outside. We talk about how explosive he is. It comes with the nature. He fumbled that punt return. You kind of dang if you don't, dang if you do. No, you don't want to see him make that fumble, but if he does, catch that ball, he's done some amazing things on the punt return. So just unfortunate, it was a big momentum switch in terms of how that game progressed after that punt fumble. But I think our defense did okay. I think there was some things we talked about prior to the game in regards to holding the team to 20 points. They got over 20. I think we had a conversation that if our defense could hold anyone under 20, we had a good chance. Well, they couldn't. They spent too much time on the field. I think the third down, they controlled it. So got to clean it up. I think interior wise, defensively, I think Stone still did an amazing job. I think Jackson did an amazing job. Just still having issues with tackling in space. We got to clean that up as we move forward. These next 4 games, you just never know. I think we could win all 4. We could lose all 4. But it really depends on what offense and defense come out to play these next couple of games as we end out the season. So overall, I think there was a winnable game that we let slip away. But in terms of just, Ole Miss, they've let 2 games go away in the second half. They were bound to have a complete game, and they had a complete game. They had a solid game. I think, just think about Kiffin and how much he played and trolled OU, leading up to the game. You were watching the game. I was watching it at the halftime. That's a smart guy. He was, making calls in the last 15 seconds, changing up the call at the last minute, and our defense scrambling to try to make adjustments. Man, he knew what he was doing. I think overall, I think it was a solid game. I think our coaches have to kind of do better in adjustment, but we got to figure it out as we go into these next 4 games.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and go St. Pablo, and you can wrap it up when it's your turn. I thought it was a game of missed opportunities. I thought the second quarter felt extremely similar to the second half of the Texas game, where Ole Miss just drove and drove and drove, and we couldn't get the ball back. I was looking at the stats here just to refresh my memory. They went 9 for 21 on third downs, and I feel like all 9 of those third down conversions were on plays of 15 yards or more. It seemed like every third down they had a gain of 15 yards or more. And it was, in my opinion, the defense in the second quarter was atrocious. They came back in the third quarter, I felt like, and played pretty tough. But I feel like the defense really wasn't very good in the second quarter. It was nice to see the run game. It's interesting that this is close to the time of the year last year when we were introduced to Xavier Robinson. We didn't see him at all in the beginning of last year, and he came out, and I think it was the Alabama game he showed out. We're, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks away from that. And, same thing with this year. He's had a single-digit amount of carries probably up to this point. And then he really found a rhythm and had that one good run, and then a few others. And so, for me, Mateer, I think it has zero to do with the injury and everything to do with he forces everything too much in crunch time. I think, the third and I think it was third and something. It was either third or fourth, and he had Satania open on a short route, but he tried to force it to the I think it was Giovanni Gibson maybe
Last drive, yep.
10 or 12 yards down the field on the same side. Could have got the first down conversion with Satania on the short route because he had a step. I think he's trying to force too much. Defensively, I really felt like our mid-level coverage wasn't very good. Okay, not necessarily the flats, but like the hook curl area, the mid-level coverage. I didn't feel like that was very good. Our D line played okay, but in my opinion, this all kind of goes back to first for me was the second quarter defensive play, but overall for me is the offensive play. I think I can't necessarily determine if Mateer's calling his own number, but you're not going to be on the second and long and you run the quarterback run where it looks kind of like a counter. He takes a couple steps one way and then tries to get behind people. Like, I don't think you can do that in the SEC on second and long. I don't like that play call against these opponents. Let's see. Mateer, 13 carries for 17 yards for Mateer. To me, that's about 5 or 6 too many. 5 or 6 of those could have been handed to somebody else. I think he would have been a little bit more productive. But Satania, guys, he's fast. Trey Burks was the one that you guys were talking about, was the track star, right? Satania turned that thing on that 76-yard touch. Like, he put on the jets. So that was extremely impressive to me. I think we got to figure out how to get Giovanni Gibson going a little bit early. It was nice to see, and I forget who he threw the ball to, but we did throw a couple deep balls. One, I believe, was caught that were actually designed deep balls, not the Satania long one that was kind of a mid-level route, but an actual deep ball. Let's see. There were a few other things I was going to mention. There's a lot of people that, you should have run the ball more, you should have run the ball more, but the 165-yarder blows the average. Okay, so it looks like we ran the ball well, but the one carry for 65 yards when you don't run very much can make the average look a little bit lopsided. I still think we've got to get better at running the football before we sell out to the run. I don't think we were in a position to sell out to the run like we did against South Carolina, just from a matchup standpoint. I think we ran the ball probably just enough. We should have just hit more short routes, and I think he was just trying to force other things. Didn't have any turnovers other than the punt return, which I felt was a very pivotal moment in the game. To get that ball at midfield as opposed to turn that ball over at midfield is a huge game changer. And so that was not a very good turn of events there. And the last thing I'll say is, and I've been a little bit back and forth on social media. I thought the comment after the game before the interview with Lane Kiffin was extremely classless. I don't know if you guys saw that with David.
Yeah.
Like he claims David Stone was hollering at him all game. I went back and looked. You can't see anything like that. And he turns around to a college kid and says, "Oh, you're quieter now. You're quieter now." And then calls him out and says, "This guy was yapping at me the whole game." Like, man, that's classless to me. Even if he was yapping, like that's a college athlete. Like, let him go. Shake his hand. Good job. Move on.
And it's funny. It's funny because watching that, I think David Stone what it appeared to be is he was coming up to congratulate the coach, like, "Hey, good game." They shake hands and everything, and for him to react that way it was classless.
Yep.
I agree.
Classless. Show up a college kid on national TV.
Yeah, and I'm happy David Stone didn't react. He just kind of walked off, but it was classless.
Yeah. So St. Pablo, tell us how it is.
Well, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, he finally wins something. I think he had been. Well, he hasn't won anything, as a coordinator, yes, but as a head coach, and obviously they've built a solid program. However, he was 0 and whatever on the road against ranked teams in the SEC. Comes into Norman. Our defense sputtered. I mean, we gave up 431 yards. And so it sounds like to me, listening to the Goodfella, he believes that to be, because that was going to be one of my questions, is was this, that were they just better on offense talent wise, or was it strategy? Because to me, it appeared to be at times that we got out coached and the strategy was there. And I didn't see necessarily that Ole Miss defense is, that they're, that our their offense and our defense played terrible either, necessarily. But there were 7 pass plays for over 200 yards, 7 of them. That it totaled it, and so you take that big chunk of that 431, we gave up some really big plays in crucial moments. And you go back to that strategy part, that 4th and 1, and Brent Venables addressed it on where the proper block or hit was supposed to be coming in. I think he took the inside as opposed to going to the outside on that. And, that was a critical moment, as well as what I agree with you guys on the Satania deal. So, yeah, great strategy on the offensive side. And I thought we got out coached. On our offensive side of the ball, you go to that, you flip that script, and, the pass ratio pass to run ratio. We had 32 pass attempts and we had 15 carries. I think the first couple series we didn't even run the football. And so I don't understand that. I don't understand how you go to a little bit of committing to the run, the game prior, and you see success. We had success on the road at South Carolina. And then we come out and we're just going to, try to throw the ball. And so I don't know, that was disappointing to me to see that. The fourth quarter, the Sooners' fourth quarter, we had 3 points. And to me, the fourth quarter for the offense, the Oklahoma offense, was really, really rough. And it was difficult to watch. It did become kind of reminisce of a bit of the Arnold days at times, and it even it had that feel to it on not trying to just pick up a first down, move the chains. Those last few series were so bad. We were going for it all right then, as opposed to pick up the first down. Let's move it. I know we didn't have a whole lot of time, but that was disappointing. So those were my disappointments. Kip Lewis on the defensive side, 8 solo tackles. Satania, 131 yards. 6 receptions. You mentioned something, Iceberg, that was really, really important. 9 carries, and Xavier Robinson. He says I'm going to be the guy. And, give me the ball, and I'm only getting it 9 times. I'm going to make every opportunity count, and he did. And it was really impressive to watch him run so hard and physical. We've watched the Sooners, and how many times have we created a safety, and then to watch that play on the goal line, and that safety being done to us was really disheartening. So, it's a disappointing loss. We are 6-2 overall. We are 2-2 in the SEC, but everything still lies before us. That's what the Goodfella was saying. We could win all 4 or lose all 4. Everything is still there right before you. I do believe this team to rebound. I know we'll jump into Tennessee, but those were, one last thing. The Lacey kid, Lacey, the running back for Ole Miss? We held him to 70 some odd yards. It felt like he picked up yardage at crucial moments when needed. If you were to say that stat, and say, because he's been running like crazy. And so we did, hold him to low yards, but when needed, he picked up some really crucial yards. And so give it up to Ole Miss. This was a big victory for them. I think we talked about maybe last week, it sort of felt like whoever wins this ball game has a really, really good shot at the college football playoff. Ole Miss really does right now. You look at their schedule moving forward. They really do. Yeah. So that's where I'll pause for now. Trying to.
Yes, I will tell you. You mentioned Ole Miss have to move forward. Man, the SEC is a gauntlet. Like, it really doesn't. You look at their schedule. Yeah, they play South Carolina, but South Carolina played Alabama hard last week, right? And then they got Florida, and then they got Mississippi State. So who knows? SEC is playing some really good football each weekend.
Let me say this real quick. In the SEC, there is no Rutgers. There's no Maryland. There's no Oklahoma State. And there's no Kansas. There aren't any of those. I mean, Kentucky may be the Kentucky and Ole Miss, but even they can sneak up on you, and they've about snuck up on a lot of people these last couple of weeks. So, and OU's got a tough SEC schedule, period. I think what was at the beginning of the year is the second strongest, most difficult schedule in the entire FBS behind Florida. I think that was number one. So, it is a tough schedule, but man, that's what we got to play. That's the hand that we're
Can I ask you guys this? Do you think that Chambliss is worked his way into the Heisman conversation? Because he had a really good game against us. I think he had like 53 yards rushing, 15 in the air. I mean, some of his passes were just right on the money.
I think he had a great ball game, but I don't think the Heisman is one great ball game or even two or three great ball games. To me, it takes more than that. But he did what he needed to do when he had to do it. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. Great quarterback. He can play. He can play.
All right. That'll do it for the recap of the Ole Miss. Again, OU drops a tough one in Norman to the Ole Miss Rebels, 34-26. Moving forward to this week, matchup versus the Tennessee Volunteers. We will head to Knoxville, Tennessee to take on Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers, who will be wearing all black. It'll be a night game in Knoxville. Should be an electric environment. Let's talk about the Tennessee Volunteers.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I thought this would be the game plan going into Ole Miss. If you've got a dynamic quarterback and you've got a very high productive offense, you want to keep the ball out of the offense's hands as much as you can. So you have to try to run the ball. I was so shocked by the opening few series.
Pablo, I did go back and look. We ran the ball 3 times out of 7 plays in the first drive.
Okay, well, we have to commit to running the ball. Was that John Mateer running the ball?
No. It was
we opened the game with a 1-yard run, so you're at 2nd and 9. You're not going to run it again.
It seems like a lot better than 2nd and 13 when we're scrambling and getting sacked behind the line.
But 2nd and 9, you're not going to run the football.
No, I would agree. But commit to running the football in this game. Get back to the, just because you get stuffed a couple times, I mean, it doesn't mean we abandon it, after that and go double either. So, giving the ball and a lot of time to this Tennessee offense is going to be very problematic if we do that. We saw some great things here with Xavier Robinson, with Blaylock. I would not give up on him either by any stretch. The guy's explosive, and when he gets free, he's fast. And so, keep the ball out of their hands as much as we can. And then we've got to find that defensive pressure. But that is the one thing I want to say going into this game. Please commit to running the football when we go and play at night in that stadium. And it will be quite the environment. But I truly believe in the Sooners to fight back here and to have a really good football game.
Second series, 6-yard run, 3-yard run, 0-yard run, punt. I think there was a commitment to run the football, but then there's only so much you can do when you can't. Third series,
I'll take 6 yards. Man.
Yeah, but I think it's and we've been harping on this whole season about committing to the run. Our biggest threat in terms of the run game is not mentally able to run. Like our biggest threat in the beginning of the season was Mateer and his ability to run the ball if he needed to. Like he's not there yet. He's not there, and I think teams know that. Like teams are not game planning now on Mateer's legs. They're not doing it. So
we have 4 O linemen out. Okay, we have 4 O line. His thumb isn't keeping him from running the football. I think this is SEC, and we're not playing Kent State. We're not playing Northern Illinois. Okay, Michigan, I don't think is
it's one off.
Great. This competition is better competition than what we were playing when Mateer was a quote unquote Heisman favorite. I think, the shifty moves that we saw him make in the first 3 to 4 games were things you can do against non-SEC type defenses. So, I don't know. I think we're trying to force him to run the football too much, as opposed to, when he does drop back to pass, I think there are some lanes that open that he could scramble through instead of calling a quarterback run, even though we should be okay with hat on a hat. I don't think we're good enough up front. I think it all starts up front. And I don't think, even the break that Xavier Robinson had wasn't just a clean, bust through the hole and he's gone. It was went through a hole. Oh, saw another hole open up, cut over, and you know what I mean. So,
the
we don't
safety
have a line that's mowing anybody down.
Yeah, the safety at Ole Miss lost him in that pile and came in way too hard and far. And when he came out of the pile, no one was there.
Let me ask you this:
the safety was the safety that we got. I'm talking. It's tough to say this after you're talking about the Ole Miss safety, but the safety that we gave up was a zone read that got blown up. That Trey Blaylock had to try to bounce and could not run the defender to the sideline.
So let me ask you this: since we're on the subject, we don't have to be on it too long. I know we're chanting, Heisman the first 4 weeks, whatever. Now that we get into the actual meat of the season, meat and potatoes, and we're in SEC play, what is Mateer? What
average quarterback?
Okay,
he's an average quarterback.
I disagree. We don't know that in its entirety because the guy is still coming off hand surgery within the month. And so it seems really unfair to say that he is, average, that he would be this way had he not been injured.
Guys, he's not overthrowing people. He's throwing it to the wrong people. His thumb doesn't do the thinking.
Right. I'm on the bandwagon. He's average. I haven't seen anything outside of those beginning games to where, and I'm hoping he changed my mind. I'm hoping every weekend he has the opportunity to change my mind. You mentioned this last game, we're driving the ball, the last drive. Get a first down. Centennial's wide open. You talking to a guy, if you give him the ball in the out route, he could take it to the end zone. You just never know.
Could outran him.
You never know.
Probably could outran him.
Didn't give him a chance.
No. I think listen, I understand his thumb, guys, his thumb is not the problem. Okay. The opponents are the problem, and his eyes are in the wrong place. It's a mental thing is a problem. He's reading things wrong. He's trying to force things in instead of letting the game take care of itself. And to me, that's not what a Heisman candidate quarterback does. And I don't think he's in that conversation anymore. One more year, maybe. But right now, I think the SEC game is bigger than him. I think before we got into SEC play, everything before Texas, that was material, if you will. Okay, material. But now this is big boy football, and I think he's an average SEC quarterback. I don't think he's above average. And I'll say the same about Ben Arbuckle. And I'm a huge Ben Arbuckle fan. I think he did great the first 3 to 4 games, but I think now he's going against, stellar defensive coordinators. There's enough tape out there on him. I think he's turned into an average Ben Arbuckle. Have you seen his name anymore for any of these other job openings since we started playing in the SEC?
Right.
I don't disagree with the assessment of average. I just think, particularly with Ben Arbuckle, I think he's learning, and there were good things, and we were a play or two away from winning that football game against a very good football, probably a playoff caliber team. But John Mateer John Mateer is an above average quarterback, and he had an injury within the last month that, I mean, it's gonna set you back a little bit.
It's
And
not hindering. It's not hindering his ability to make the mistakes he's making.
I disagree. I think that he had time away, and it was an extra distraction and recovery, and it was a loss of practice time. And you are going up against very quality opponents. And I mean, we could be having a different conversation 4 games from now, because we will get to see all the tests because we're playing some very above average teams. And this weekend is a great opportunity to continue to grow and mature. That Satania touchdown pass was an amazing pass, right on the money. Now, to that point, to your point, there was another guy on the other side completely wide open.
He's not throwing bad passes. He's throwing to the wrong people.
A few bad passes in there, a little overthrows.
Here's the deal. Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, and Auburn. He showed us, and I'll give him all 4 of those games, that he is an above-average quarterback. I was excited. He didn't play Kent State. Texas, South Carolina.
Wait, he broke his finger, or he breaks his thumb, throwing hand. So you got to insert that, right? He's got.
I listen. I would insert it if he was making the right reads and not being able to make the throws. But that's not the case. Yeah. He's not making the right reads. That has nothing to do with his thumb.
Yeah, and I'll say
he's
this.
not running the football like he was the first 4 games. That has nothing to do with his thumb.
Well, I don't know, man.
He didn't break his damn toe, St. Pablo.
Yeah, but you take a shot, to that hand, you're gonna be a little more cautious. I mean, you're not going to run. Now, he had a really good run in the Ole Miss game. He had a long, he ripped off a long one, and he looked like he took a lot of hits. But nonetheless, I hear what you're saying. I just think there needs to be a little bit more context to the thumb injury.
Yeah, I'm with Iceberg. I don't know. So now if you know that he's not, we're saying his thumb is still injured and all that, then put Hawkins in.
So would you sit him right now, St. Pablo? He's not 100%. Would you sit him?
No, I've got to be honest with you. We had a chance to win this football game with him. He played average. He played well. I mean, he did some good things, some very good things, put us in position to win. I certainly wouldn't put the game on his shoulders to say that he was the reason why we lost this football game.
No, I'm not. No.
I look forward to him going into Tennessee. I think he is a very, very good quarterback. And I just it sucks that he got hurt, and it set us back a little bit. But we got 4 games left.
For the listeners, let me clarify my position. I'm saying he's an average SEC quarterback. I don't think he's a Heisman candidate. I think he's an average SEC quarterback, which is still pretty good.
Yep, I concur. Same way. I feel the same way. I think he's average. I think he is. He's a good quarterback. Who knows? I believe he's going to stay here another year. He needs another year. He is not. Let me ask you this. Let me ask St. Pablo. If he's above average, I'm going to assume that means he's ready for the NFL after this season.
I don't think that above average quarterbacks go to the NFL.
Okay.
I think you have to be an excellent quarterback. I think that the injury puts everything in a different perspective because it's real easy. I mean, we're talking in hypotheticals, so we don't know,
Right.
If he wasn't injured and he didn't sit out Kent State and he didn't walk into Texas with short practice time and wasn't being a little more cautious. And I think that those things that could change. So it's just difficult. We can't, the argument's clearly won because of the reality, that we have the numbers. I find it extremely impressive that the guy is back, and he is. I think that it gave us a chance to win this ball game.
I find it extremely impressive that he's back and physically capable of throwing the football where he wants to throw it.
Right.
I mean, I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's awesome. I think it's given us a chance. I think each week as he gets better, I hope he's getting better. But I don't think he's 100% right now. So it's hard to say he's, what he is, when you're not 100%. You think he's 100%?
No, I don't think he's 100%, but I don't think he's healthy enough to play. But again, mentally, he's not there. Mentally, he is not there. And I don't even, now I'm kind of agreeing with Iceberg. Is it mentally, or he just right now just average quarterback, which he just needs more time to develop in the SEC.
I think he's 95% at least.
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing what he can do, like even like in warm-ups, and like he can put the ball where he wants to with zip. I don't think there's, I don't know. I just, with thumb on a football is extremely important for control, for spiral, for zip, for everything. And he's doing that. So anyway, back to Tennessee though. We got on a Matirgent. Okay. For me, I'm gonna go back to what I did with South Carolina. I feel like this game's all about Oklahoma. I feel like we got to shore up some things on the defensive side of the football. I didn't see a whole lot of hunger like I did at South Carolina. I think, but Ole Miss was great up front. Ole Miss is a good offensive football team, but as St. Pablo mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, and I don't think it was while we were offline, but Tennessee's the number one SEC offense. Is that correct? With all the analytics, and so that kind of concerns me a little bit because, I think, like I mentioned, our hook curl area, our mid-level secondary really gives me pause. I do think Guillory played a better game last week than he's played in a long time at corner. But Tennessee's going to bring it, and it was a close game last year, and I feel like Tennessee was better. And I think Tennessee was better last year than they are now, and I think we're better than we were last year. So that's my hope, and my hope is that our backs against the wall, and we come out swinging and come out fighting and just enjoy the environment for what it is. And but I would like to see a little bit more offensive production, kind of like we saw in the first 3 or 4 games. Some of those 5 to 7 yard passes that get completed that are much like a run, and then get Xavier Robinson in there again and run the football, and let's see what happens. I don't want to necessarily commit to the run because I don't know that you can do that with what we have up front in the SEC. But I do think balance is an argument. I didn't notice the lack of balance until you brought it up. But I also know, those last 2 drives were kind of pass heavy, and so that might skew it a little bit in terms of the way that looks. So anyway, I'm excited. The environment's going to be awesome.
So can we agree on this though? Because when I say commit to the run, I mean more balance. When I say commit to the run, that's what I'm meaning. I'm not saying sell out.
I will agree with more balance.
I think John Mateer is very effective. Satania, you've got weapons everywhere, but we need more balance, and particularly Ole Miss. Here's what I was hoping with Ole Miss, and I don't, they just played Georgia, and they played I don't know how many plays that defense. They were coming in tired. You've got to wear them down. The fourth quarter, I thought we would dominate, and instead we kept dropping back in these pass, keep hammering away at them, That was what I meant by commit to the run is, I guess, be smarter on the offensive side of the football, know your opponent. know what they just did the week before on the road in Georgia and how long that game was and how many plays that defense was on the field. It's blood in the water, fourth quarter. We were up 26-25 rolling into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But I'll say it again. That punt return fumble was crucial.
Yeah.
Also, guys, this Ole Miss one's going to dig at us. I know we're looking at Tennessee and we need to move forward. But did you guys agree with the 4th and 1 call when it was 15-10 in was it late first, second quarter?
I'm trying to remember.
Do you remember it? We got stopped.
Yeah. No, I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with that.
I didn't either. I mean, you pin them back, give your defense some time to work at them, but okay. All right. But
you're not saying like commit to the run, like be run heavy. You're saying
no.
Like a balance. Balance.
That's what I mean. Thank you for the clarity. I mean, balance. I mean, be smart, know your opponent, know that you may be a little bit running the ball a little bit more going into Tennessee because you are managing the clock. I understand you're going to have to, I would love to get above 26 points in a ball game. So, I mean, take some shots. I love the downfield stuff. Again, you're saying the thumb and all that. There were a couple of those deep shots, which didn't necessarily need to be because pick up the first down, but a couple of deep shots that were just right there that I think are an accuracy issue still with the thumb. They were right on the fingertips within reach of Giovanni Gibson down the sideline for a really big play. But I just don't think we're 100%. So, I mean, take your shots, do your thing. I'm not saying don't be creative and get, just in one, but we have to manage the clock and be a little bit more mindful as opposed to getting into the hurry up, as opposed to getting, we're going to drop back. We're not even going to have anyone in the backfield. It's becoming quite predictable at this point when Mateer's going to run the football too. I don't like that.
Yeah, but I hear you, but that's not how we play football. That's not, now you're wanting them to change how they scheme up game. Like we are known that no huddle, quick firepower offense. Like we don't play slow football. Like we haven't played slow football in a long time. So I don't know how they make that adjustment. But I do agree with you. There needs to be some type of adjustment. But in terms of tempo, we're a tempo team.
Well, tempo, I think the adjustment is, and Iceberg could probably speak to this too. I'm saying you don't ever commit one way or the other to tempo, in an entire game plan. The game will dictate your need for tempo. If you're ahead, and you're keep moving it, keep rocking it, keep going. If it's even, if you in that, crucial moment where you've got to kick it back to Ole Miss, who can, throw down the field and is just lighting you up in the secondary. I mean, we got victimized in the secondary against Ole Miss. We're going to have to do better. And so in some ways, that's why we'll talk about this with the Tennessee game later, but that's why I think they will. I think this was a slap in the face, a wake-up call. Our defense is really good. I don't think our secondary is elite. I think they got punched in the face, and I think the adjustments will be made. And I love being in the doghouse because being in the doghouse all week will piss you off, or should, and you go out and you earn that pride back. And you get in there with the rest, because the rest of the elite defensive pass rushers that we have, and let's go do something. So I like that part of it. But again, I don't know. Don't get out coached.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I'll say this. You talk about pinning your ears back, and we're playing a team that loves to pass the ball. We will get challenged this week in terms of in the air. So we got an opportunity, our defensive line, to rack up some sacks, but we also got an opportunity to get exposed in the secondary. So one of those deals to where, we're talking about playing a quarterback last weekend. I think this quarterback is better than probably the best quarterback we've seen all season in terms of production. I think he has 18 touchdowns, a little over 2,300 yards of passing. That's explosive with only 6 interceptions. So he's productive. So our secondary will get tested, and our defensive line, they have to find ways to get to the quarterback and get some sacks. This is going to be the game that I want to see them get that 6-7 count rate for sacks or a high number of tackle for loss or pressures.
Yeah, I agree. I think this week is all about Oklahoma. Balanced on offense, St. Pablo. Hopefully the D-line can pin their ears back, and that the secondary can get some breakups, and we can be on the other end of a time of possession and number of plays ran by a team, as opposed to being on the short end like we have at least 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Okay. In the effort of time, we'll wrap up the Tennessee conversation as OU travels to Knoxville. I believe it's a 6:00 kick, night kick, Knoxville. Man, that place, it looks on TV like it's really fun to be at. So looking forward to that game. Let's finish up this week's episode with the locks of the week. Okay. We're right at the hour time frame, I believe. So I'll go first. I hate going first, but St. Pablo reminded me a few weeks ago that the person in the lead always goes first. So I guess I'm going to have to go first. Sorry, unless you want to flip that.
Well, you have you ever been told about this thing called, I get told a lot, it's called selective hearing. And so when you have selective hearing, we said we make it up week to week. But I love the fact that you're gloating.
You go first.
I love it.
You go first.
Okay, I will go first. Here's why I'll go first. I'm going to lay it all on the line. I am inverted score on 3-7. I am 3 wins. That's it. 7 losses this year. They benched Jackson Arnold, and so that I got royally screwed with that Arkansas pick. And then Arkansas must have heard that I picked them because they turned the ball over so much. But I am taking Oklahoma. At 3 points. They're an underdog going into Knoxville, but I'm taking the Sooners on the road for all the things that we said. I think they improve in all the areas they needed to improve. Ole Miss went toe-to-toe with Georgia. So did Tennessee. OU is a very, very good football team. If they can go in there, and they have to have that kill mentality. They have to finish the ball game, and go in there and win on the road would be a huge bounce back, and I believe in the Sooners. I'm taking OU. Boomer, Sooner.
St. Pablo goes with the Sooners. Hope that's not the ultimate jinx. I'll go next. Last week, I took Tennessee as an 8.5-point favorite over Kentucky. Tennessee won by more than 8.5. I don't remember exactly what it was. That moved me to 7-3. This week, I'm going to take Georgia as a 7.5-point favorite over Florida. Goodfella.
Oh man. So let me see this spread. I lost last week. I went with Kansas. Went with the Jayhawks. They were playing an interstate rival, and just got embarrassed. It was ugly. It was we lost. K-State, Kansas lost. So I am going to a team that I haven't picked all year, maybe even all last year. But watching this team play, they are desperate for a win. They have they're 3.5 favorite against their opponent, and I am going to go with Dabo Swinney in the Clemson as they face Duke this weekend. They are 3.5 favorite. The Tigers over the Blue Devils. Dabo got to win this game.
You know what, Goodfella? And we didn't get it in this round because we probably spent a little too much time on Mateer. Love the guy. Love him. But if this were college football today, we were coaches, both you and I would be sitting on a beach somewhere with our big buyout. We're going to talk terminations. We'd be taking that. So you can fire us, Iceberg.
Do you guys know what the buyout number is right now for just head coaches thus far?
No, it's hundreds of million.
It's $168 million right now as of now. That's not assistant, just the head coaches.
Yeah.
That's chump change, man, in college football world.
Well, with all the buyouts, they have come out and said that they're not just flat checks. They are spread out over the term of the contract.
Yeah.
And then at any point, they're all written to where at any point they get another job, they get a difference of the two positions. So it is a lot of money, though. I mean, I think, what did I see? Brian Kelly gets $800,000 a month.
Yeah. Hey, I know we're not talking about this. We're gonna pin it, but I gotta say this: as much as we, I think BB's job is saved.
Safe?
Safe.
Absolutely. I don't care if you go 6-6.
He's safe.
I agree. And I am rooting for Gundy to get the LSU job. Mike Gundy, it all started in Stillwater.
He needs an SEC job. Oh, that would be awesome.
I agree.
He needs an SEC job on our schedule.
Florida, you need to hire him.
LSU. Now we're thinking, ooh.
That'd be crazy if you had to play us again. He's got Johnny's and Joe's, but anyway. All right. Maybe we can talk about the coaching carousel that is the current state of college football next week.
Because it may be another fire this weekend.
There's somebody, it may be Dabo Swinney. Who else?
Maybe. That's why I'm going with Duke. That's why I'm with, Clemson.
Yeah.
Because he has to win this game. He cannot walk in the following week 4-4 or 3-5.
Well, I think
he can't be 3-5.
Yeah, I think it's a really good pick on your part because I think he is auditioning for LSU.
Yeah,
I agree. All right. That'll do it for episode 11 of Sooner Sound Waves. Thank you all for listening. Like, share, comment. We'll see you next week.
Here comes the.
Who we didn't talk about Texas got lucky again. Texas got lucky again.
We need some Sooner Magic as well. I'll put some Sooner Magic as well.